The Padres ended the game with a triple play in the bottom of the ninth. The win clinched a playoff spot for the Padres and left them only 2 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West. The LA Sparks fired coach Kurt Miller. Miller was 25-55 in 2 seasons with the Sparks. Magic Johnson, a part owner of the WNBA franchise, said last week there would be changes. Hey, Clippers fans, I know it's a little early for some bad news, but you need to hear this. Kawhi Leonard is still having inflammation issues with his right knee. The Clippers announced Tuesday that Kawhi will not participate in drills or practices in training camp. Camp opens Monday at the team's new practice facility at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. More on this troubling news about Kawhi later today. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tavis is under attack. I can't get his radio station on my transistor. I'm getting the Asian station that he's right around, but they're not letting KBLA 1580 come in. I'm not getting the black man. So let Tavis know he's under attack. Cyber attack, racist attack, fascist attack, but he's under attack. And they doing something to disrupt his radio station so they won't get the truth out to us.
Hey, it's Tavis. We appreciate all that love, let me tell you, because we may very well be under attack on all sides. Just because you don't believe in conspiracy theories don't mean they ain't after you. But in reality, sometimes stuff happens with the signal from the studio to the tower, which sends our programming to your car, home, office, or your transistor radio. But when you download the KBLA 1580 app, the sound is clear as a bell all day, all night, anywhere in the world, from Los Angeles to Lagos. So we love all of our listeners, no matter how you hear us. But when you download the KBLA 1580 app and hear that richness, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. But don't take my word for it. Download the KBLA 1580 app right now. I'm Tavis Smiley, and I approve this message.
BIPOC-owned businesses, highlight opportunities and initiatives for underrepresented entrepreneurs, and center socially innovative enterprises, building generational prosperity, fostering real networking, and recycling black dollars. It's Wealth Building Wednesdays on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we do this every Wednesday. I'm so excited now, though, to have with us live in the studio kind of an icon in our community. He's the CEO and founder of Darrow's New Orleans Grill in the city of Carson. That's classic Cajun cuisine they're bringing to the Carson community. And the Darrow's New Orleans Grill family prides itself, they say, on serving the best quality gourmet foods this side of the Mason-Dixon line. Norwood Clarke Jr., welcome.
Wonderful pleasure being in your space.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Thanks for coming in. I know that you are an entrepreneur, a long-time entrepreneur. People think of Uncle Darrow's and you're wearing the shirt, but you've rebranded.
Yes, we've pivoted. We started out manufacturing confections for all the Nordstroms in California, Oak Brook, Illinois, Minneapolis.
The pralines.
Pralines, correct. Yes. And also Neiman Marcus in Beverly Hills. That was back in 1988.
That sounds like a really long time ago.
I feel that too.
So you started in the sweets business, and then you evolved into a full restaurant?
Well, what happened back in 1993, we wanted to be the next See's Candy, and we found this building. And a friend, I thought, was mediating the deal for us, and we did all the renovations to this property, and the landlord gave it to another company after we did all the major renovations.
Whoa, that doesn't sound
Devastated us.
legal.
Yes. Well, what happened, I called our attorney, and this is a note of caution to all those entrepreneurs out there. Even though a verbal contract is binding, if you don't have the money to litigate it, it's null and void.
Oh, right.
Devastated us.
Great point.
Yes.
Wow, it's amazing that you got back in business after that.
Exactly. I laid in a fetal position all day the next day, trust me.
Yeah. So you invested money into a building that you guys didn't have control over,
Exactly.
and they stabbed you in the back, and
Exactly.
somebody got the benefit of all your investment.
Exactly.
Wow. And so next,
Well, then we were not making candy, but we were making gumbo, red beans and rice in our facility when we were manufacturing the product. And I had this idea, what about red beans and rice and gumbo to go? But our venue, our factory was located in the red light district, so it wasn't conducive for you and your family to come by there to do a retail transaction. So a friend of mine had a restaurant on Melrose. You remember back in the day when Melrose was popping? Denzel, Spike Lee. Anyway, so we tried the product over there. Overwhelming success. And that was a major impetus for us opening our first location in 94 in Mid-City, a little hole-in-the-wall place. Holly Berry, Nancy Wilson, Ava DuVernay, Johnny Cochran, George Lopez, and professionals like yourself used to come through there. We were like a rooster with snowshoes on. We had no idea what we were doing, but we made it through. And I tell people that, Dominique, whatever you're looking for in life is also looking for you. And I tell folks that relationships matters. Look at our relationship. You've been advocating for the Darrow's family since you first met us. I remember you on Street Scene, back on the Beat, and from the other radio station that you were part of, and now this location in the Bay Area. You know, won 5 Emmys and a Gracie Award. I mean, it's
that
amazing.
is correct. Amazing that you have it memorized. But so then, I mean, I guess when people sort of bonded with the Uncle Darrow's is Marina Del Rey and also in sort of the Westchester area, right?
Yeah, Mid-City area.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the studios, Sony Pictures, Carver Studios. It just happened very organically. And because, again, not having any professional knowledge about retail, that was a really learning experience for us. It was a major learning curve.
And now you're in Carson. And that's the main location,
That's
right?
it.
That's it. You got to go to Carson if you want
Right.
Darrow's New Orleans Grill. And only you can wear the Uncle Darrow's shirt. The rest of us have to wear the Darrow's New Orleans Grill shirt.
Nostalgic.
Why Carson, and what do we love about that location?
How we landed in Carson, the guy who owns that property used to work in housing. He decided to go into private development. His corporate office is in Brentwood. So one day, the president, along with one of his consultants, came to the Marina Del Rey store, and I just happened to be there. And the president said, Norwood, I lived in Atlanta for 3 years. I didn't have food as good as Uncle Darrow's. The whole 3 years I lived in Atlanta. What will it take to bring this concept to Carson? And my question to him, where's Carson? Because I didn't know anything about Carson. So I took a field trip over there. And what I noticed, Dominique, the location across the street from City Hall, you had the convention center, you had the Doubletree Hotel, you had curb appeal, you had access to the freeways. And we had this concept at that time, not even in New Orleans, the first fast casual Cajun Creole with a full bar. And we decided, hey, let's try it here. And fortunately we did, because of the fact that the landlord in the marina went up on the rent $13,000 a month on us.
Ooh, that's not a small jump.
And we couldn't pull the trigger on that. And so he gave us 31 days to shut down 16 years.
Wow.
Almost bankrupt. The place that we have right now took us 2.5 years to open because it was a parking lot. So we took a parking lot and turned it into what you saw recently.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's casual, like you said,
Casual.
fast casual, but it's beautiful. And talk about what you offer there.
Well, we decided to do a different spin with the Cajun Creole. No pork. Everything is clean. Fresh fish comes in off the farm. The red beans are vegan. The fresh collard greens and kale are vegan. The jambalaya is cooked with chicken. You don't have to get everything fried. Traditionally, this type of cuisine is always fried. You can get it grilled. And what we offer too, I tell people, customer care. I don't do customer service. I do customer care. It's all about the experience. If you look at the landscape of the South, we created the food service business, but we don't want to serve anymore. So we want to create a space where we honor you and honor the culture.
And but you're still doing catering for big parties and things like that, but mostly it's all centered around the New Orleans Grill at the Carson location, and you're open Thursday through Sunday, is that right?
Yes, noon to 7. Post-pandemic, pre-COVID, we went from 27 employees down to 6. I don't know if the audience is aware of this, but over 28,000 restaurants in the state of California went out of business.
During COVID is what you're talking about.
Exactly.
I mean, I know that some are still going out of business because I believe it's the Ozempic trend where a lot of people are taking these injectables that take away their appetite.
Well, I don't know what it is. I've never seen anything like this before. Even in New Orleans, I just recently returned from there, and they're having challenges there with labor. Labor got crushed in the hospitality industry. Nobody wants to do this anymore.
Nobody wants to serve.
Exactly.
And I've heard that, to be honest with you, from a bunch of people I know who are restaurateurs.
It's real.
So what does that mean? I mean,
Well, you have to reimagine, meaning that the days that we're not open, the days that we are shuttered, now we're looking at having special events. We're doing an event next month on the 23rd from 7 to 10, live jazz. And it's a private event. It's online, invite only. And we want to see how the pilot one goes first. If that does well, and then we'll do it every other week or maybe monthly and what have you. And then in November, we're doing a reggae event on a Tuesday. And so it's a situation where just trying to think differently, because you can't allow yourself to be a victim.
Right.
You can't surrender.
I mean, as business, that means reinventing.
Exactly. Constantly. You have to be nimble. And people don't realize that you can't be so rigid that you're not willing to look at other things, and also to listen to other people with ideas. And one thing about entrepreneurs, those who are just starting out, you can't allow your emotions to run rampant. First of all, you have to look at your life itself as a business. Because if you're not disciplined in your personal life, you're not going to be disciplined in your business life. And realizing that an entrepreneur and self-employed is two different things.
Yeah, that's very true. So right now, the best way to support your business is show up and get some food. And that's that's Thursday through Sunday, noon to 7 p.m.
Correct.
It's at 21720 Avalon Boulevard, number 102 in Carson. It's quite delicious. I was there recently, and it was super yummy. As always, what we kind of expect from you guys. And now we can go hear some jazz or some reggae.
Exactly.
And we'll see how that develops.
Well, we appreciate you.
Do you have a website, phone number, social media, all the stuff so we can
Darrow's
be hungry
Grill,
at 7
Darrow's
in the
Grill
morning?
on all socials. Phone number is 424-570-0531. Again, Thursdays through Sundays, noon to 7.
And it's just at Darrow's on all my platforms.
Exactly.
Darrows. Not Darrow. Y'all, just like folks like to call me Dupree, you get an adjacent name. It's Darrow, D-A, like arrow with a D on the front.
Exactly.
Darrow.
Darrow's Grill.
Darrow's Grill on all social medias. And by the way, I'm Dominique DiPrima, not Dupree. Well, just call me. Well, it's great to see you. Congratulations. That's a total of how many years in business now?
Since 1988.
Okay, my math ain't that good,
Yes.
but that's a long
Long
time.
This used to be black.
The beard used to be black,
Yes.
but the food is still
Exactly.
delicious.
Consistent.
Actually, I guess it probably gets better with time.
We work on it daily.
Well, Norwood Clarke Jr., thank you so much for stopping in on a Wealth Building Wednesday, and I wish you much prosperity.
Great honor.
Indeed. We will, you can call me now. We're talking national issues on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Always night pads are designed for a perfect night's sleep, so you can do your bear hugging a pillow thing, your free falling starfish thing, your burritoed in a blanket with the AC blasting thing. While Always night pads with Rapid Dry do their we've got your back with fast absorbency and up to 10 hours of protection thing. So while your period's doing its own thing, Always lets you do your sleep thing. Shop for Always in-store or online, wherever you get your pads.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching
Does this have peanuts?
to waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Mark your calendar for October 2nd. It's California Clean Air Day. When you go Metro, you'll enjoy free rides and help clear the air. We can reduce pollution and create a healthier environment together. Let's all ride for a cleaner tomorrow. Start your journey at metro.net.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk, 1580. We've got your black. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It does, and you're invited in at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. But joining me now, my colleague, who will either be in the White House or back as the host on Saturday mornings here on KBLA, depending on how things go, November 5th. She is a professor at Cal State Long Beach. LA. Why do I always do that? Cal State LA. She's former chair of the Pan-African Studies Department there. She is a mom, the leader of Black Lives Matter Grassroots, which is Black Lives Matter, and also lead organizer with BLMLA, Dr. Melina Abdullah. Good morning.
Good morning, Sister Dominique. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and the reason I say November 6th, obviously, she's on the West Abdullah ticket. She is the Abdullah running for vice president. So you got a lot going on. But I wanted to start off with Marcellus Williams because I know you are tracking that. I know Black Lives Matter, Grassroots, and BLMLA did some work around trying to stop this execution. And I know you have some thoughts on it.
Well, I have both thoughts and very, very heavy feelings. I've been trying not to apologize for my emotion, but I've been extremely emotional. Got a call in the middle of the night. My oldest child, Tandiwe, is in South Africa, and they called me in the middle of the night sobbing about Imam Khalifa or Marcellus Williams and the state-sponsored murder of this Black Muslim man who, by all measures, seems to have been innocent of this killing and or what he was accused of. And the state chose to murder him anyway, and there were many chances for many, many different ways of intervening and halting the murder of Marcellus Williams, and it didn't happen. And, I was trying to offer some commentary. One of our most active members, we call her our poet laureate of the movement, Yasmin Monet Watkins, had a book release last night, and I was invited to moderate that discussion, and I couldn't keep it together. I couldn't ask her the questions about her poetry without crying, and then she started crying, and it's just, I think we're at a point where we have to also acknowledge how we feel about what's happening and how it feels just absolutely daunting that no amounts of intervention was successful in saving his life. They got 1 million calls. We drove 1 million calls into the governor of Missouri's office, and that didn't help, right? And petitions and, signing on with Council for American Islamic Relations was involved, and virtually every single justice-loving organization was involved and spoke out. And most people who believe in justice, I know my Instagram feed was full of posts for Marcellus Williams or Imam Khalifa, and none of that worked. And instead, Mike Parson, whose name we should know, who's the governor of Missouri and is an absolutely horrible human being, if we can even call him that, is responsible for the murder of Marcellus Williams or Imam Khalifa.
Yeah, I think very, very, very traumatic. Very, very, very traumatic. And I feel like, I said earlier, because we watch black people being murdered by police all the time in tapes, and it's always traumatic. But in this case, they can't say, well, I feared for my life. There was no accident. There was no on the spur of the moment decision making. This is happening in slow motion. And I feel like that makes it feel like a lynching, like a public lynching.
Right, that's exactly what it is. It was a public lynching. There was such intentionality to it. And, there was actually the previous governor of Missouri had issued a stay. And then when Parson came in, he lifted that stay of the execution. And such intentionality in stealing Marcellus Williams' life. And I think that maybe that's kind of the root of how heavy it feels. That we know that this is a lynching. This is the putting of black men's heads on stakes. I was talking to on Black Power Media yesterday about what the root of the death penalty is and how it's the systematic death of black life and what its purpose is. And it's reminding us, I think the heaviness is because we feel reminded of how powerless we are in a white supremacist system. And we have to constantly petition a system that was never meant for us, that was meant to produce those outcomes, the outcomes that it did, to see our value and to recognize our humanity, and they refuse.
Yeah, I think that is right. We only have a minute here before news, traffic, and sports. Just give me the short version of why you call him Imam Khalifa.
Well, he's an imam. He's a faith leader. He's been a practitioner of Islam for decades and was a faith leader inside the prison. And so Imam Khalifa is his chosen name. Marcellus Williams is his government name, but he went by Imam Khalifa and was embraced warmly by a Muslim community. And if there's any silver lining, it is that, or a beautiful part of it, it's how Muslims of all racial backgrounds rallied behind and worked to attempt to save the life of Imam Khalifa, even though we were unsuccessful.
Yeah, I'm also hoping that it will be a bit of a reminder for people. If anything, good can come out of a terrible, terrible murder. A reminder about the death penalty and the reasons why one of the reasons why we in Los Angeles County organized to get Jackie Lacey out of office. The persistent use of the death penalty, which typically targets black men more than anyone else, and the outcomes that go along with that. We've got news, traffic, and sports right now. Then we'll continue on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Ray Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump have agreed to 2 separate town halls next month, hosted by Univision. The candidates will field questions from undecided Hispanic voters. Trump will have his town hall on October 8th in Miami, and Vice President Harris will follow suit on October 10th in Las Vegas. Officials say Fat Man Scoop died from hypertensive heart disease after he collapsed on stage during a performance in August. Scoop, whose real name was Isaac Freeman III, was performing in Hamden, Connecticut, August 30th when he suffered a medical emergency mid-performance. And that's the latest. I'm Ray Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America N.A. Copyright 2024.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The San Diego Padres beat the Dodgers 4-2 in the first game of a critical three-game series at Dodger Stadium. The Padres ended the game with a triple play in the bottom of the ninth. The win clinched a playoff spot for the Padres and left them only 2 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West. The LA Sparks fired coach Kurt Miller. Miller was 25-55 in 2 seasons with the Sparks. Magic Johnson, a part owner of the WNBA franchise, said last week there would be changes. Hey, Clippers fans, I know it's a little early for some bad news, but you need to hear this. Kawhi Leonard is still having inflammation issues with his right knee. The Clippers announced Tuesday that Kawhi will not participate in drills or practices in training camp. Camp opens Monday at the team's new practice facility at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. More on this troubling news about Kawhi later today. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard of the 50-30-20 rule? This can help you spend and save your money wisely. So, how does it work? Distribute your dollars into 3 buckets. 50% towards needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Use this tool to help your journey to financial success. Sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
I need your dollar, that's what I need.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates small businesses, the enduring lifeblood of our community, with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom-and-pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me?
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look, and unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at the gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Dr. Melina Abdullah is with me. I've got so many questions, so many sort of important questions. I have to reel you back in here again soon. I want to go to Howard calling us from Watts. Good morning, Howard.
Hey, Parker Towns on top of this. Oh, thank you. Thank you for taking my call. I just really wanted some information. I'm calling in to find out when you're going to do that voter thing. You view the ballot all the time, and I'm gonna be out of town till from the 15th to the 2nd of November, and I can still get you on the radio and things. I just want to be able to go to the ballot.
Right. So I'm going to be going over various propositions and candidates all the time, like daily. As far as going over the full ballot, that's probably going to happen. I don't have it on the calendar yet, but I imagine it'll definitely be happening the last week of October. And yeah, probably the last week of October, first couple days of November, because a lot of us wait till the last minute. But in the meantime and in between time, we're going to continue to talk about various races. You got any advice for Howard about how to prepare to vote? Dr. Melina Abdullah is also a political science professor.
Well, I think we need to be prepared to vote all the way down the ballot. There's some really troubling ballot measures, Prop 36 to watch out for, but be prepared to vote all the way down the ballot. And, think about who you trust and how they're recommending you vote. The forces of evil have more money than the forces of good. So you might hear people saying certain things. Make sure you look for how people you trust are advising you to vote, and listening into First Things First to give light to what's happening is really important as well.
Yeah, Howard, I can. That's exactly what I do, Dr. Abdullah. I compare, because I'm never going to agree with everybody, even if I trust them. So I like to compare a lot of progressive voter guides and also some of the conservative ones, and then try to figure it out. I'll do some searching on candidates and issues surrounding that topic. So it takes some time, but I think I'm going to do more, Howard, of sharing that process with you two on the air this time, so we can get more familiar with how we figure this stuff out. Thank you for the call. We were talking about the death penalty in connection with Marcellus Williams, a.k.a. Imam Khalifa, and the fact that this California election, I think, Howard, has at least one place where we weigh in on the death penalty. To me, that is the DA's race, because one of the things that I was most disturbed about with Jackie Lacey was that almost 100% of the people she was sending to death row were black. And we see that racial disparity in the death penalty. So even if you believe the state should have the right to execute people, which I do not, you still have to look at the racial bias, discrimination, and then wonder whether giving people the right to kill other people when they have such a bias is a good idea. And Dr. Abdullah, I know you had some data around the death penalty you wanted to share.
Yeah, so the death penalty is unjust just when you look at its history and why we have a death penalty in the first place. We know that the arguments that they make for the death penalty are false arguments. The death penalty doesn't reduce crime. It's not a deterrent. There are 27 states that allow for the death penalty, 23 that don't. There's not higher crime rates or murder rates or violence rates in those 23 states, right? It is not a deterrent to crime. We also know the death penalty is hugely expensive. So to put somebody in prison without the possibility of parole it costs 3 to 4 times as much to put them to death. That's because of the appeals process, because of all of the extra measures that have to be ensured with the death penalty. But also, most of the victims, including the victim that Marcellus Williams was accused of killing, which he didn't kill her, right? But the families don't actually get the kind of relief that we think that they would. In fact, I thought about, Gail's family, the woman who he was accused of killing's family, and how they pled for him to not be executed, and how this is an additional trauma for them. Then there's the racial disparity that you're talking about, which is really, really important. Black people are about 13% of this country, but 41% of death row inmates are Black. And then we know when the victim is white, they have a 4.5 times greater likelihood of being sentenced to death. So, it is not only unjust, it is racist, and we have to stop the death penalty. There's actually a bill that Ayanna Pressley, who's one of my favorite legislators, is moving to ban the federal use of the death penalty. And so that one is moving, and Black Lives Matter Grassroots is endorsing that bill to ban the federal use of the death penalty. But we have to, move in line with other developed nations and say we will not commit state-sponsored murder of people who are accused of committing crimes, becoming murderers ourselves, because we become murderers ourselves when we steal life.
And when you look at the number of the exonerations that turn out to be Black people, the number of folks that serve these long sentences or are on death row that end up being exonerated because of the bias and racism within our justice system, how can you justify giving the state the power to kill people when they get it wrong so many times with Black people?
That's right. So we have to, we ban the death penalty. We need to abolish the death penalty.
And the thing is, the death penalty is not even a global norm. Like, it's not even normal. Yeah, speak on that.
Most developed nations, most so-called, advanced nations do not use the death penalty. So plug into the work of the Innocence Project, which was really, really vocal to try to stop the murder of Marcellus Williams, but has saved 250 lives, proving their innocence. Do you know how hard it is to prove the innocence of someone? And when you talk about, the number of people who are exonerated, that's just the people who were able to be proven innocent. It doesn't mean that others weren't put to death.
Right.
We didn't have that kind of evidence around.
That's a good point. I also think, I always bring this up because there's a perception on the streets that Donald Trump is going to free people from prison, particularly Black men, because of the First Step Project and because of some high-profile rappers that he has as allies. And I like to remind people that he went out of his way to execute 12 people on the way out the door in the last couple months of his presidency. He went out of the way to execute 12 people who had been sitting on death row, and 5 of those were Black men. So while he might have been letting a few people out of prison with one hand, the other hand was pulling the switch to kill people.
And he advocated for the death penalty in the exonerated 5 case, the Central Park 5 case. He advocated for the murder of teenagers who were innocent of the crime that they were accused of. So Donald Trump has been an advocate, and it's also really, really appalling that the Democratic Party, which used to be a party that spoke out against the death penalty for decades, for the last 2 decades now, the Democratic Party has said they were against the death penalty. This is the first time they've abandoned that stance. Joe Biden was anti-death penalty when he ran. There's not been a peep from the Democratic Party or their candidate for president around Marcellus Williams and around, the need to abolish the death penalty. So both major parties are really failing. But you're right, Donald Trump has been a purveyor of the death penalty and an advocate of the death penalty. We see silence, though, on the part of the Democratic Party, even from, and I want to give credit to Kamala Harris, early in her career, she advocated against the death penalty and bore some political consequences for that. But she's been silent lately, and that's also very, very troubling, right? It's the silence of good people that allows evil to flourish.
And worth noting, because I was talking about this earlier before you jumped on, is that the president cannot pardon, could not have pardoned Marcellus Williams because these are state charges. But he could have put pressure on the Supreme Court. He could have put pressure on the media. And so it would be still be important, even though it would have to be the governor that would have been able to pardon him, or at least stay the execution even without a pardon, just to see where the evidence led. I want to talk when we come forward about Alfred Ramon Dorsey. Not sure if folks are tracking that, but certainly you are, and it's going on right now in real time. So we'll look at that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
October 2nd is California Clean Air Day. It's your chance to ride Metro for free. You'll be helping make the air cleaner and our roads less crowded. Let's clear the air together and make Los Angeles healthier. Check out metro.net for more info. Black Women for Wellness and Stand LA are standing up against harmful oil drilling in South Los Angeles. Our Bad Neighbors campaign exposes the serious health risks of drilling in our neighborhoods. You've seen the billboards, posters, and coffee sleeves around South LA. Now join the movement to protect our health, our families, and our future.
Visit bwwla.org/no-drilling to learn more and get involved. That's bwwla.org/no-drilling.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice and injustice, the courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Areva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Areva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Mark your calendar for October 2nd. It's California Clean Air Day. When you go Metro, you'll enjoy free rides and help clear the air. We can reduce pollution and create a healthier environment together. Let's all ride for a cleaner tomorrow. Start your journey at metro.net.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Man, I got a list of questions. Dr. Melina Abdullah. You can find her on online at Doc Melly Mel. You can follow BLM Grassroots on all social media platforms. Please like, follow, and subscribe. You can still hear her sometimes on Saturday mornings on This Is Not a Drill. And you can catch her on the campaign trail. What's the campaign website, Dr. Abdullah?
It's CornellWest2024.com. That's Cornell with one L, Cornel, West 2024.com. And we do have a strong position against the death penalty for the abolishment of the death penalty. There was a caller who asked about voting. I think it's also important that as we vote in Los Angeles, and you raised Jackie Lacey's terrible history of sentencing Black people to death, seeking the death penalty in cases, we have to remember that Gascon is anti-death penalty, is strongly against the death penalty, and his opponent is for the death penalty. So if you're upset about the outcome of this case, then you have to think about what you vote in locally, because as you talked about, Dominique, it's not just the president that decides, where this country is going in terms of the use of the death penalty. It's our local and state elected officials. And so the decision about whether or not to pursue the death penalty rests with district attorneys. And so for me, that's another reason that I'm voting for George Gascon, because he's opposed to the death penalty and has ceased its use during his tenure in office.
Yeah, I'm tempted to digress, but I want to make sure we get time to talk about Alfred Ramon Dorsey. I was, Googling it just to see what the local latest coverage is, and I see exactly zero coverage of it right now in the local papers or national news, other than things from 2018 and 2019. And this is a man who was killed by police inside of a Hollywood 24-hour fitness gym.
Right, and there was body cam footage. We saw him coming out the shower. He was naked. He was clearly unarmed, right? He had nothing but a towel wrapped around him. And I think it was, again, uplifting the way in which policing and this criminal legal system dehumanizes Black people. A woman LAPD cop, along with her male partner, who stands about 4 feet 11 inches tall, right? I have all kinds of thoughts about little man's complex, right? Comes into this gym where Alfred Ramon Dorsey is accused of trespassing. He was a member, but his membership had apparently lapsed, and he was showering. And instead of just giving him time to dress and leave, police were called in. So 24-hour fitness bears responsibility as well. LAPD was called in and winds up both of their body cams mysteriously fall off of them. Yeah. And they wind up shooting Alfred Ramon Dorsey to death on the floor. He's left laying on the floor of the Hollywood 24-hour fitness. So this is a civil trial. It was a terrible trial overall, but the jury is still out. They're still deliberating, and we expect a verdict today. So we hope that the city and the police who murdered Alfred Ramon Dorsey are found liable. And we hope that the family of Alfred Ramon Dorsey gets a huge jury award in this case, because that's one of the ways justice, or some semblance of justice, can be moved forward.
Yeah. Why do you say it was a terrible trial altogether?
I mean, I'm not personally related to him, but I was sitting with his mother and his brother and his uncles and his sister, who all had to fly in from D.C. And the way that the city put on the case, the way that they used photos that show him sprawled out on the floor, revealing his genitals, right? That wasn't necessary for the case to move forward. The way that the attorney for the city and for LAPD repeatedly violated the judge's orders in the actual trial and tried to dramatize what might have happened in there was sickening. And they were kind of lifting up, well, Alfred Ramon Dorsey was this big black man. They all but said that. And, you know, the two officers were small.
And they should have got some doggone backup. They should have. I saw that video. I hated it so much. Yeah.
Or, you know, de-escalation. It's time and
Hello.
distance. You know, just give him a chance to get dressed and leave. Why do you need to go in and demand that he submit?
Right.
So,
there was no one there. He wasn't threatening anyone. He was minding his business. Why are you even calling the police on him?
That's right.
It's insane.
That's right.
I know today is Wednesday, so that means there's a protest. We were talking earlier about the Officer McBride, who was the head of the police association that calls itself a union for LAPD, and his shady business dealings coming under scrutiny of hiring cops with disciplinary problems and exploiting them to work for his security company. But you'll be down there today, right?
And we ask everybody to come and join us. This Wednesday especially, we're going to be lifting up Marcellus Williams. We're also going to be exposing why the LAPPL is not a real union. The Los Angeles Police Protective League is not a real union. And then also tying it together with local elections, because immediately after the protest, which is at 4 o'clock at 1313 West 8th Street, we're going to be headed over to El Sereno, where Kevin De Leon, the terrible, shameful city council member, is running for re-election, and he's debating his opponent, Isabel Jurado. And so we're going to be going there and not being quiet during that debate. And we invite everybody to also meet us there at 6 o'clock in El Sereno to say this is what Kevin De Leon said: Black people have no power. If you look behind the curtain, we're just 25 Black people yelling. We're going to show him what 25 Black people yelling can do at that debate in El Sereno. So people are invited to join us 4 o'clock at 1313 West 8th Street, 6 o'clock in El Sereno for the debate for the 14th district, which people usually think of as a Latino district, but that district also includes Skid Row, which is a majority Black population as well.
Yeah, great points all. And as outraged as many Black people say that we were around Kevin De Leon, Nuri Martinez, in the and company in their tape, I hope we haven't forgotten this election cycle. One of those dudes is running for re-election.
That's right. And everything that we've said reminds us there have to be political consequences. There have to be political consequences for Kevin De Leon. He must be voted out. There have to be political consequences for Mike Parson in Missouri. He has to be voted out, and he has to feel what it means. You know, if he's a murderer, and he is, right, then he has to not simply be able to go home and go to sleep at night and live in the governor's mansion without people constantly disrupting his peace. He should not be able to live in peace as he steals Black life. So that's the lesson. Let's continue to organize and lift our voices and do righteous work so we can move things forward, even when the system tries to make us feel powerless.
Remind us how to tap in with you and the work you're doing.
Sure, you can follow me on all social media, Doc Nellie Mel. Follow BLM Grassroots on all social media, BLM Grassroots. And if you want to follow the campaign, we're at CornellWest2024.com.
Dr. Melina Abdullah, as usual, it's been enlightening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Attorney Carl Douglas joins me next. We're talking about the death penalty, going to go a little bit more in depth, and how it connects to some ballot issues that we are also facing. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Ray Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump have agreed to 2 separate town halls next month, hosted by Univision. The candidates will field questions from undecided Hispanic voters. Trump will have his town hall on October 8th in Miami, and Vice's real name was Isaac Freeman III, was performing in Hamden, Connecticut, August 30th when he suffered a medical emergency mid-performance.